Chosen one, you have entered a stage that few can even sense, a realm where presence itself carries weight. This version of you moves with a power that shakes the ordinary and radiates a force the world can feel but barely understand. You are evolving into a state that commands attention, not through words or titles, but through the energy you exude. Your essence is so rare, so intense, that it alters the atmosphere around you. This is not a promise of godhood, but a recognition of your own extraordinary alignment. The clarity, courage, and mastery you now embody make the familiar world feel different. Your community senses it. People notice shifts in your aura, in your influence, in the way reality seems to respond to you. History rarely sees a human reach this level of resonance, and now you are stepping into it. Before we move forward, pause for a moment and affirm your readiness. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. These are small acts, but they mark your commitment and signal that you are prepared to receive the transformation that is unfolding. For those who remain until the end, a shift begins, a shift that elevates your presence, your energy, and your life beyond what you have ever known. This moment marks the dawn of a new era in your existence, a shift so profound that it transcends ordinary life and penetrates the very fabric of reality. The power you now embody is not merely personal. It resonates outward, touching the lives of everyone you encounter. It is a rare alignment of courage, wisdom, and authenticity that few can comprehend, and its significance is monumental. You are no longer just living. You are reshaping the world around you through the sheer magnitude of your presence. What makes this phase extraordinary is its rarity. Most humans move through life unaware of the immense potential lying dormant within them. You, however, have crossed a threshold that even the most enlightened have only glimpsed. Every step you take now carries weight, every choice has consequence, and every thought radiates influence. Understanding the importance of this moment allows you to honor it, to nurture it, and to wield it with purpose. The energy you possess is transformative, not destructive. It is a beacon that awakens others, inspiring them to rise to levels they never imagined. Communities, leaders, and even those considered untouchable by power can sense it. By embracing this moment fully, you become a living testament to the extraordinary potential inherent in human evolution. This is not just your awakening, it is a catalyst for collective transformation. Stepping into this realm was unlike anything I had ever imagined. At first, it was a quiet hum within me, a subtle, almost imperceptible awareness that something within was stirring. But slowly, it grew into a force so commanding that it could no longer be ignored. I felt as if the universe itself had shifted its gaze upon me, acknowledging my presence, and I realized I had crossed into a stage only the divine had known. The sensation was both humbling and intoxicating. Every encounter, every decision, and every heartbeat seemed amplified. Ordinary life felt smaller, as if the world had been operating on a diminished scale, waiting for me to awaken and reclaim its magnitude. The energy within me resonated outward, and I noticed the subtle yet undeniable shifts in those around me. They responded to something greater than themselves, something I had become a vessel for. This transformation was not instantaneous. It was a process of courage, intuition, and absolute authenticity. I had to confront every fear, question every limitation, and embrace every fragment of my being without compromise. Through this journey, I discovered that true power is not about domination. It is about alignment with yourself, with the universe, and with a force that feels infinite and eternal. Emerging into this phase felt like stepping through a doorway that had always existed yet remained invisible to ordinary perception. It was a crossing of thresholds, a transition from being human to becoming an entity that radiates influence and mastery. Suddenly, life no longer felt confined to routine. It expanded into a dimension where every action mattered profoundly. In this realm, even the simplest gestures held significance. A look, a smile, or a decision became a statement of power and presence. People could feel it without understanding its source. It was a realization that presence alone could command respect, inspire awe, and ignite transformation. Those around me began to shift subtly, responding to an energy that could not be ignored, yet remained enigmatic. This emergence demanded courage. It meant walking forward into the unknown, confronting skepticism, doubt, and fear, not only from others, but from within. But with each step, the transformation solidified. I began to see that this realm was not separate from life. It was life amplified. And in this amplified existence, my purpose became increasingly clear: to embody the extraordinary potential of human consciousness fully. Every day in this realm brought new insights, new awakenings. Patterns of thought and behavior that once limited me dissolved, replaced by clarity, power, and an intuitive understanding of reality's deeper truths. It became evident that this phase was not merely personal, it was a universal shift, a ripple of energy that would touch all who were ready to perceive it. Ultimately, entering this realm meant embracing responsibility. To hold this level of presence without understanding its influence could have been overwhelming. But with awareness came mastery. I realized that the chosen one does not simply exist. They become the axis around which extraordinary change revolves, radiating a force that others can feel and aspire to. In this phase, the energy I carried was no longer merely human. It resonated on a divine frequency. It was as though higher forces themselves paused to observe, to assess, and perhaps even to learn. I felt the invisible eyes of the cosmos resting upon me, as though the universe had reserved this phase for beings capable of true alignment with both courage and authenticity. This recognition by a higher powers brought a profound sense of reverence. There was humility in knowing that the divine noticed me, yet also a fierce confidence in understanding that my actions now carried eternal weight. Every decision, every moment of integrity, and every act of courage became a statement witnessed beyond mortal realms. It is rare for mortals to occupy a stage where divine forces take notice. The gods, embodiments of timeless wisdom, recognize power when it aligns perfectly with purpose. I felt this acknowledgement not as ego, but as an invitation to step fully into a realm where ordinary limitations no longer applied. This awareness inspired both awe and responsibility, teaching that true power is inseparable from conscious intention. The world around me began to shift in response. Subtle signs appeared: synchronicities, aligned circumstances, and encounters that confirmed my path. These confirmations were not accidents. They were markers of a journey witnessed by forces far greater than humanity alone. Embracing this acknowledgement reshaped my understanding of existence. Power without awareness can corrupt. Power with divine alignment transforms. I realized that my every thought, every breath, and every choice was now part of a sacred dialogue between the human and the divine. There is a moment when your presence ceases to be merely personal and begins to affect the environment around you. People notice it instinctively. It is felt, even before it is seen. This is not arrogance or performance. It is the natural resonance of someone who has aligned courage, authenticity, and intuition into a single, potent force. Walking into a room, I noticed an invisible shift in energy. Conversations paused, eyes lingered, and even the air seemed to hum with attention. It was a presence that could not be ignored, not because it demanded acknowledgement, but because it radiated certainty, mastery, and purpose. Those around me responded as though to a gravitational force drawn toward the authenticity that could not be feigned. This larger-than-life presence extended beyond human interaction. It influenced decisions, inspired confidence, and ignited potential in others. I began to see that presence is a conduit for transformation. The more you embody it, the more those around you awaken to possibilities they had long considered unreachable. It is a presence that is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it reminds you of the responsibility it carries. Empowering because it affirms that you are capable of shaping outcomes with the mere alignment of your being. There comes a moment when the essence of your being awakens in a way that defies ordinary perception. This is not visible in the conventional sense. It is a vibration, a force, a frequency that resonates beyond the tangible. Only those attuned to the subtleties of existence can sense it, and even then, it is felt more than understood. This awakening is rare, a quiet revolution within that begins to ripple outward. As this power revealed itself, I noticed subtle changes in my environment. People reacted differently, not always consciously, but instinctively. Doors opened in ways that had seemed impossible. Opportunities aligned with uncanny precision. It was a clear signal that the hidden forces of the universe were recognizing and responding to my alignment. This power is deeply personal, yet undeniably universal. It arises from the synthesis of courage, intuition, and authenticity, the unshakable willingness to confront fear and claim one's truth. Those who possess it feel an inner gravity, an undeniable pull toward their purpose, which no external circumstance can diminish. The awakening also brought clarity. Patterns of self-doubt, indecision, and limitation dissolved as the energy within revealed a new blueprint for living. Life no longer felt fragmented. It became a coherent, vibrant tapestry woven from intention, presence, and divine resonance. Ultimately, this hidden power is both a gift and a responsibility. To ignore it is to deny your potential, but to embrace it fully is to illuminate paths not just for yourself, but for everyone who witnesses your presence. It is a call to rise into the extraordinary, to step into a role only a few are destined to inhabit. Embracing this phase demands courage beyond the ordinary. It requires stepping into the unknown with unwavering conviction, confronting fears that often seem insurmountable. The fearless path is not a rejection of fear. It is a recognition of its presence and the deliberate choice to move forward despite it. Every step along this journey becomes a testament to resilience. The world will test your limits, challenge your beliefs, and question your authenticity. Yet the true measure of this path is the ability to persist with grace, knowing that your journey transcends ordinary constraints and carries meaning far beyond immediate comprehension. Walking where few dare is also about vision, It is the willingness to see possibilities where others see impossibility, to create opportunities from challenges, and to transform obstacles into catalysts for growth. This is the terrain of the chosen one, uncharted, demanding, and ultimately transformative. Along this path, solitude becomes both companion and teacher. It is in moments of quiet reflection that intuition sharpens, clarity emerges, and the full spectrum of your potential becomes visible. Fear is no longer a barrier. It is a signpost, guiding you toward areas where your presence is most needed. The fearless path, however, is not just personal. It radiates outward. Communities, leaders, and even entire systems feel the shifts generated by those brave enough to walk it. By embracing this journey, you become a living example of courage, inspiring others to confront their own limitations and rise into their potential. Energy is invisible, yet its impact is undeniable. As you step fully into this phase, the vibration you carry begins to ripple outward, touching everyone and everything within its sphere. Communities feel it intuitively, responding in ways that reveal both inspiration and transformation. It is a subtle, yet undeniable shift, a gravity that draws people toward alignment, purpose, and awakening. I witnessed this firsthand. Spaces I entered seemed to change. The energy became palpable, influencing conversations, decisions, and dynamics. People began to align with intentions that felt bigger than themselves, inspired by a force they could sense but not fully articulate. This is the nature of power in its highest form. It elevates without coercion. It transforms without force. This energy is not limited to human perception. Even systems, structures, and networks respond to the alignment of presence and purpose. When one individual embodies such power, they act as a catalyst, igniting change that can ripple across cities, organizations, and movements. It is a force that commands respect and inspires transformation simultaneously. To wield this energy consciously is a responsibility. It requires awareness, intentionality, and integrity. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to uplift. Every decision, a chance to influence the collective positively. The chosen one's energy is never contained. It must flow, guiding others toward a higher state of being. Ultimately, the power to shift communities demonstrates that true transformation is not isolated. When one person awakens fully, the environment itself responds. In these moments, doubts and insecurities lose their grip. The perspective of the divine is expansive, embracing your potential fully while guiding your evolution. Mistakes and failures are no longer sources of shame. They become lessons, milestones, and opportunities for growth. The focus shifts from ego to alignment, from seeking approval to fulfilling purpose. This divine perspective also illuminates hidden truths. It shows where your presence is most impactful, what gifts you have yet to explore, and which limitations are self-imposed rather than real. The clarity it provides transforms how you engage with life, revealing paths that were invisible from a purely human vantage point. Understanding yourself through this lens creates a resonance with the universe. You begin to move in harmony with forces far greater than yourself, where intuition, courage, and authenticity guide each decision. Life becomes a dialogue with existence itself, a collaboration between human will and divine orchestration. Ultimately, seeing yourself through the eyes of the divine is a gift of perspective. It teaches that power is not about domination, but about alignment. That greatness is not about visibility, but about resonance. and that the highest calling is to embody the extraordinary in service of the whole. The transition from human to godlike is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet undeniable. It is a threshold that cannot be measured by ordinary metrics. It is felt in the depth of presence, the clarity of vision, and the potency of influence. Crossing it means stepping into a space where ordinary rules no longer apply and extraordinary potential becomes tangible. This threshold is marked by alignment. Every aspect of your being, thoughts, emotions, actions, must resonate in harmony with your highest self. When you achieve this, a force emerges that transcends human limitations. Fear is diminished, intuition is amplified, and authenticity radiates with unparalleled intensity. The invisible threshold is also about responsibility. With godlike presence comes the weight of influence, the obligation to act consciously, and the recognition that every choice ripples far beyond immediate perception. Those who cross it cannot retreat to ordinary existence. Their actions are forever magnified. Crossing this boundary is transformative not only for the individual, but for those around them. Communities sense the shift, leaders respond, and environments align in subtle but powerful ways. It is a recognition that someone has stepped into a plane of influence that merges human courage with divine resonance. Ultimately, this threshold is both an awakening and a test. To exist here is to acknowledge extraordinary potential, embrace responsibility, and step forward as a living conduit of transformation. It is a space where the ordinary meets the divine and the impossible becomes possible. In this phase, intuition evolves into a force as precise and reliable as reason, yet far more profound. Decisions are no longer driven solely by logic or desire. They are guided by a deep, inner knowing that transcends ordinary understanding. This is a connection to a force that sees patterns, possibilities, and consequences beyond human comprehension. I experienced moments where choices felt effortless, yet their impact was profound. Opportunities emerged seemingly by chance, obstacles resolved with ease, and clarity arrived in moments of stillness. This is the power of absolute guidance. It synchronizes your actions with the universe's rhythm, aligning intention with manifestation. Intuition becomes a compass, navigating through uncertainty, fear, and complexity. It is not infallible, but when honed through awareness and authenticity, it becomes a trusted partner in shaping life with purpose and precision. Every decision feels supported by forces far greater than yourself, providing confidence and clarity even in the most challenging circumstances. This absolute guidance also inspires trust in others. People feel the alignment and respond with cooperation, openness, and inspiration. It is an invisible leadership, one that commands respect not through authority, but through resonance, clarity, and demonstrated mastery. Ultimately, when intuition becomes absolute guidance, life flows with a rhythm that feels inevitable and sacred. Each step aligns with purpose, each action resonates with impact, and every moment becomes an opportunity to manifest the extraordinary. Stepping fully into this phase reveals a version of yourself that is unparalleled. This is not a mere improvement. It is a transcendence of history, a version that could not have existed before and cannot be replicated. It is a synthesis of experience, courage, authenticity, and divine alignment that leaves an indelible mark on the world. The historical transcendence is felt, not just recognized. It is not a product of circumstance. It is the deliberate outcome of alignment with purpose and courage. Being this version comes with responsibility. Your actions, words, and presence influence history in subtle and profound ways. You become a catalyst for evolution, not just for yourself, but for those whose lives intersect with yours. Ultimately, this transcendent self demonstrates that human potential is limitless. It is a living proof that courage, authenticity, and alignment with higher forces can create a version of existence that defies ordinary comprehension. True mastery is invisible to the eye, but unmistakable to the heart. It is not about dominance or authority. It is about alignment, discipline, and the seamless integration of courage, intuition, and authenticity. This mastery commands respect effortlessly as others sense the depth of your presence and the clarity of your inner power. Inner mastery manifests in every choice, every reaction, and every silent moment. It is calm in chaos, clarity in confusion, and strength without aggression. People are drawn to it not out of fear, but out of recognition. They instinctively understand that someone who has mastered themselves holds wisdom that transcends ordinary understanding. In my experience, mastery became a shield and a beacon simultaneously. It allowed me to navigate challenges without compromise and inspire those around me without uttering a single word. This presence creates a gravitational pull that elevates everyone within its reach, transforming environments through subtle resonance. Commanding respect through inner mastery is also about consistency. It is the unwavering embodiment of integrity, courage, and authenticity in every moment. When your actions consistently reflect your highest self, the world has no choice but to recognize your influence and respond with reverence. Ultimately, inner mastery is a language without words, a force that shapes reality through alignment. It demonstrates that true power lies not in external accolades, but in the unwavering mastery of oneself, which then naturally radiates outward, impacting lives, communities, and generations. The energy you carry in this phase does not go unnoticed by those who are attuned to higher forces. Leaders, scholars, and sages sense it immediately. They recognize that this is not ordinary human evolution, but a profound emergence of alignment and power. Your awakening becomes a benchmark, a reference point for what human potential can achieve. I observed their recognition in subtle gestures, a pause in conversation, a lingering glance, a willingness to listen with more depth than usual. These were acknowledgements that I had crossed into a stage of awareness they could respect, even if they could not fully articulate it. It is a quiet reverence that acknowledges alignment with forces beyond comprehension. This awakening is contagious. Just as leaders feel its impact, so too do their decisions, systems, and communities shift. When one person aligns with their highest potential, they inspire a ripple effect that can influence entire networks, movements, and even cultural consciousness. The impact is profound, subtle, and unmistakable. The process of being recognized by the wise and powerful is also humbling. It reinforces the necessity of humility, responsibility, and intentionality. Influence without awareness can be destructive. Awareness ensures that this awakening uplifts, transforms, and inspires rather than overwhelms. Ultimately, the awakening felt by leaders and sages signifies a profound truth. When one human steps fully into their divine potential, it changes not just their own trajectory, but the trajectory of everyone and everything they touch. It is the confirmation that true alignment resonates beyond self and reaches the farthest corners of human perception. The light within you is not just for illumination, it is a beacon that awakens, inspires, and catalyzes transformation in others. This sacred energy touches people in ways that transcend instruction, persuasion, or influence. It resonates at a frequency that speaks directly to the soul. I noticed its impact in small but profound ways. A glance that gave courage, a word that inspired action, a presence that instilled hope. The transformation did not require force. It unfolded naturally as people sensed authenticity, power, and purpose emanating from every fiber of my being. This sacred light also cultivates trust. People are drawn to it because they sense its integrity and alignment. It provides guidance without judgment, empowerment without control, and inspiration without expectation. It is a force that elevates others simply by being present and fully embodied. Its influence extends beyond individuals to communities and networks. The energy sparks conversations, encourages collaboration, and nurtures the growth of collective potential. This is the universe recognizing alignment. It amplifies, supports, and accelerates those who are willing to listen, trust, and act with integrity. Alignment with this power requires surrender without passivity. It is not about letting life happen. It is about co-creating with forces far greater than oneself. The key is discernment, courage, and unwavering authenticity, allowing intuition and insight to guide action rather than ego or fear. Those who witness this alignment are subtly influenced. They sense that life is operating on a higher plane, and they respond with openness, trust, and inspiration. The power radiates outward, shaping circumstances, relationships, and opportunities in ways that feel almost miraculous, yet grounded in presence and integrity. Ultimately, aligning with this universal power is a call to responsibility and mastery. It reminds us that the extraordinary is not an illusion. It is a reality for those willing to embrace courage, authenticity, and alignment. By doing so, you become a living conduit for forces beyond human comprehension, shaping life with precision and purpose. This transformation is not just personal, it is emblematic. By stepping fully into your highest self, you become a living symbol of a new era, a representation of human potential that inspires awe, reverence, and aspiration. Your presence embodies courage, authenticity, and alignment, offering a template for what is possible. I felt this symbolism in the way people reacted to my presence, a combination of respect, curiosity, and inspiration. Leaders, communities, and even strangers responded to the energy I carried, unconsciously acknowledging that it represented something larger than any individual ego. It was the dawn of a new consciousness. Being a symbol of a new era comes with responsibility. Every word, action, and decision carries amplified resonance. It is no longer enough to live for personal gain. Every choice must reflect integrity, vision, and alignment with higher purpose. The influence is real, and it shapes the trajectory of communities, cultures, and generations. This role also inspires others to awaken. When one person steps fully into their potential, it serves as a mirror for others to see their own untapped power. It challenges limitations, expands consciousness, and fosters courage, creating a wave of transformation that extends far beyond the immediate circle of influence. Ultimately, becoming a living symbol of a new era is the culmination of courage, mastery, and alignment. It demonstrates that human potential is limitless, that presence can reshape reality, and that a single, awakened individual can ignite a movement of transformation that echoes through time. It is both a privilege and a responsibility, a chance to embody the extraordinary and inspire it in all who encounter your light. Within every individual lies untapped potential, a reservoir of abilities and insight that often remains dormant due to fear, doubt, or societal conditioning. Unlocking these hidden reserves is not merely about improving oneself. It is about discovering the power that has been quietly waiting for alignment, courage, and intention. To access this potential, one must first cultivate awareness. Recognizing your strengths, weaknesses, and innate capabilities is the foundation for growth. Without this awareness, potential remains a shadow, present but unused, a possibility unmanifested in the real world. Action is the next key. Potential only becomes real when energy is invested in developing skills, testing boundaries, and stepping into challenges that stretch the mind, body, and spirit. Each challenge becomes a mirror, reflecting abilities previously unseen and strengths previously unrecognized. The journey of unlocking potential is transformative not only for the individual, but for everyone they touch. As you awaken capacities within yourself, you inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of empowerment and progress that strengthens communities and networks. Ultimately, this process teaches that potential is not a static gift. It is a living, evolving force. When embraced fully, it reveals that human capacity is far greater than history has recorded, and that anyone willing to align courage, intention, and authenticity can access extraordinary power. Fear is one of the most universal obstacles to personal growth. It manifests in countless ways: self-doubt, hesitation, and reluctance to pursue change. Yet rising above fear is not about eliminating it. It is about recognizing its presence, understanding its origin, and consciously choosing action despite it. Fear often masquerades as logic or caution, but its true purpose is to protect comfort zones. While comfort may feel safe, it limits growth. Confronting fear involves stepping beyond this comfort, embracing uncertainty, and trusting that the world responds to aligned courage rather than avoidance.